Today I'm going to present a few challenge problems or small pieces of a challenge problem to get additional practice with putting data into databases. This might seem like a repeat of a problem that you've recently done, but I would recommend that you try it anyway because the task of putting data into a database and then retrieving it happens to be one of the central things of programming, all of programming, especially programming where the software lives in the cloud, lives up on a server in the cloud. So this is the first task. I want you to write a function which takes a zip code and checks if it is a positive number with 5 digits. So if I really wanted to be specific, I could say positive integer here with 5 digits because that's what a zip code is. And if you're unfamiliar with this, I guess maybe I should specify it takes a United States zip code. So this is like a postal code. This is a postal code for the United States. And don't worry if you're not familiar with it, just go with this definition. So whenever we're writing a function, I'm just going to give you a few tips now, and then I'll code this for you later. But right now, remember there's 2 steps. Step 1, go ahead and write pseudocode, write an outline of this function. Specify what inputs it should take and what outputs it should produce. So here would be the outputs. It should return either true or false. So it will return true if the value that it was given is a valid zip code according to our definition of zip code, which is positive integer with 5 digits, and it should return false if in every other case. So if you're feeling really ambitious, you could go ahead and get go online and get a list or database of zip codes if you're feeling ambitious. But especially if you're newer to Python, please don't worry about that. We're just gonna pretend that a zip code can be any positive integer with 5 digits. All right, so that's task 1. Task 2. I want you to write a function which takes 2 parameters. And I know I'm using these words interchangeably. We can go ahead and we can also call this inputs. A reason to keep calling it parameter is that the word input is a function in Python, and I don't want to confuse you right now. So this second function is going to take 2 parameters, a zip code, and then the favorite baseball team of that zip code. And you should make that baseball team be in the format of a string. I don't care about the capitalization. I don't care whether it's a valid baseball team. Please feel free to invent names of baseball teams. I've been known to do that myself in the name of science. So let's repeat how this task should work and how you can get started on it. We want a function that's going to take 2 parameters. It should take a zip code, and it should take the favorite baseball team of that zip code. I'm going to leave it to you of whether you're going to use well, actually, I'll be specific. I'm going to leave it to your strategy. Please write comments first. Write pseudocode and comments first. If you don't do that, you'll be in trouble. So write some comments, and in a second, we're going to put all the pieces together. So let's repeat what task 2 is. It's to write a function. It takes 2 inputs. It takes a zip code. It takes the favorite baseball team of that zip code. I do want it to do something else, but first I wanted to do these things. So let's just print them out. So, and then prints both values. Okay, prints both values to the shell. Great. Okay, the third task. I want you to write a while loop which asks the user to type in a zip code in a baseball team, and which then stores that data into a shelve if the zip code is valid, which I want you to check using the function you wrote in task 1. Okay, so it should only store the value if the zip code is valid. If the user types Q, this ends the while loop. And maybe I should write a few more things here. I'd like you to use this function. I'd like you to actually, when I say stores data into a shelve, I want that to be added to this function from task 2. So in task 3, you will make the function, you know what? Yeah, I take it back. Prints both values and stores them into a shelve. Comment this out. Prepares. Prepares. How about prepares to store them into a shelve? So I want you to write a comment as part of task 2, but I want you to do that. Make it store it into the shelf during task 3. So let's go ahead and let's give names to some of these functions. So is valid zip. It's going to be the name of this function. And this is a function that it takes 2 parameters. Let's see how we're doing this here. And it stores them into a shelve. Well, it prepares to store them as a shelve. So let's just say put store data. Store data. Okay. I'm just going to call it store the data. Okay, that's the name of this one. And don't worry, it's supposed to print them the first time. Okay. And finally, this is a while loop. I'd like you to just go ahead and put this in some sort of main function. We haven't talked about that, so maybe I'll step it back from there. If you're new to Python, go ahead and just write this as logic. Yeah, actually, putting it in a main function is going to be an extra credit. Okay, so these are a number of tasks. I encourage you to just get started by writing pseudocode. We're going to walk through these tasks one by one in the next few videos.